Hello everyone and welcome to another Premier Injuries Daily Update. It feels like it's been an absolute age since we've done one of these due to the break and the pressures of work. But here we are ahead of game week 25. But before we delve into that, we look at a couple of fixtures in game week 24, which are due to play later this evening. And of course, there's a couple of key players that we want to look out for. For Liverpool, Mo Salah, we know he returned to the country on Monday and he's itching to play again. Whether he starts or not will be up to Jurgen Klopp, but if he doesn't, then he will be a shoo-in for this weekend, I'm sure. Potentially his minutes could be managed after playing all of those extra time games. I think it was 4 in a row for Egypt in the AFCON. Also, we'll be looking at Wolves. Now, Bruno Lage said that Hichan had returned to training. He wouldn't give a definitive answer whether he would be in the squad or not. However, ahead of the FA Cup, he did say he was still around 15 days away. So if he was in the squad this evening, I'd be a little bit surprised. I certainly wouldn't expect him to start. But again, one to keep an eye on. He could and should be in and around the team in the very near future. For Arsenal, problems at right back. A lot of talk with regards to Tomiyasu. He didn't take part in their warm weather training camp. However, Mikel Arteta said that the player has been pushing hard. Now, he's carrying an ongoing calf complaint. Now, that means that he may struggle to play games in quick succession. Of course, Arsenal playing tonight and at the weekend. So we may see Cedric Soares in one of those games. So just something to be aware of. On Thursday, we've only had 2 press conferences that we've heard from Roy Hodgson and also Graham Potter. Nothing massively to talk about in terms of a fantasy interest. Maybe from Roy Hodgson, no fresh injury concerns. Ismail Sarr is a player who should return to the Hornets squad. Of course, he's been sidelined since November due to a medial knee ligament injury that he picked up against Manchester United, but he did return for Senegal in that AFCON tournament and looked pretty sharp. So he's a player that could be a big asset for the Hornets during this season running. And also for the Seagulls, they will be welcoming back Leon Trossard and also Alexi McAllister. Both of those players tested positive, and they're cleared. They've resumed full training. Of course, they haven't had a game midweek because Chelsea have been involved in the Club World Cup. Now, a quick roundup of some of the key talking points from the games which happened on Tuesday and Wednesday. But of course, I will provide a comprehensive update on Friday once we've had all of those press conferences. For West Ham, remains to be seen whether we'll see Kurt Zouma back on the pitch. Of course, David Moyes, the club, received a hell of a lot of backlash for those social media videos that were going around. The sponsors are withdrawn. Adidas have now ceased their relationship with the player. So it could be that, David Moyes tried to distance himself by saying, I'll deal with the football and the matters on the pitch. The club deals with the rest of it. The decision may be taken that he's actually suspended internally pending that investigation. Issa Diop would be the player that would come in. For Newcastle, great win for my lot. Issues and both flanks. Of course, Matty Targett made his full debut. He is unable to line up against his parent club. And Kieran Trippier, he was forced off late on with what Eddie Howe references a minor calf issue. Now, hopefully that's more fatigue related and it's nothing like a pull or a strain that would keep him out of the game, because potentially that would be a big blow for us. Everton, their opponents on the night, they lost a couple of players early doors, 2 players in that first half. Maury Gray with a hip stroke adductor issue, hip flexor problem. That's something that he has had in the past. He does recover relatively quickly, but I'd suggest the turnaround for this weekend is a little bit too quick. But also Yerry Mina as well. He's had a quad problem and no stranger to the odd soft tissue or muscle injury, so it's a concern there. And with the likes of Ben Godfrey also out, and Milachenko, who tested positive for COVID, it could be that Jared Branthwaite comes into that Everton backline. Other main talking points, Burnley, they grabbed a vital point against Manchester United. The one sort of disappointing part of the evening down at Turf Moor was the potential loss of Maxwell Cornet. Those were played down initially at full time by Sean Dyche. Hopefully that's just fatigue related. We have talked about the Ivory Coast striker getting up to speed, with the demands of the Premier League, and therefore, they're going to have to be managed a little bit carefully. But Weghorst, he looked sharp. He got the assist with a turn and a nicely off for Jay Rodriguez. So there are options in there, and Sean Dyche may decide to take him out of that starting 11. On Wednesday night, there was a few surprise omissions from certain teams. In particular, Ivan Toney at Brentford. He missed the game at the Etihad with a calf issue. Now, Thomas Frank said that the club's leading scorer does have a chance of making the game, but it's going to be a race against time. So again, not 100% that he's going to return, but there's a chance. Janelt, he was also omitted from the matchday squad due to an abdominal issue. Thomas Frank is more confident that he will return to the side. Christian Eriksen, he only joined his new teammates on Monday, so it suggests it is a little bit too soon for him to be coming into that first team reckoning. He could play in a few bounce games behind closed doors to build that fitness. Of course, he's been on the sidelines now or away from the competitive environment for around about 7 months following that incident during the Euros. Elsewhere, Nathan Redmond, he had an ankle problem that was picked up in the final session ahead of the trip to Tottenham. But the Saints, they were brilliant. Armando Broja recovered from a knee knock, and he was instrumental in helping, getting the Saints back on track. And of course, Shea Adams getting the goal there for the Saints to win. And what Ralph Hasenhüttl said was probably one of his best performances since he's been at the club. Aston Villa, they'll be travelling to St James's Park. Emi Buendia, he was forced off in and around that hour mark on Wednesday evening. Now, fortunately, that looks to be more of an impact injury, a kick. So Steven Gerrard says, if that is the case, then we're thinking more days as opposed to weeks. So that gives him a chance. And there were also concerns with regards to Philippe Coutinho. He went off as well. Of course, he has hit the ground running since his arrival from Barcelona. Thankfully, that does look to be fatigue related. Steven Gerrard said he had a bit of cramp, well, basically a lot of cramp all over. And with a couple of days rest, he should be absolutely fine for that game on Sunday, unfortunately for us, being a Newcastle supporter. And also Ezri Konsa, he was dismissed in that game against Leeds. Now, because it's his second sending off, he will serve a 2-match ban. So a couple of options there for Steven Gerrard. It looks as if new signing Callum Chambers will come into the team. However, Courtney House is also another option. Other key talking points that we may like to touch upon. I think we've probably more or less done it all with that. But like I say, we will be having a full comprehensive update on Friday, Ben 10, but I suspect it'll probably go way beyond that 10 minutes as it always does. But for now, that's it. Good luck. Enjoy the football tonight. Fingers crossed we won't have too many more injuries.